Hi, it's Ramesha here. Welcome. If you remember a few emails ago, I shared with you my story of how I came, how I started to do music, how I got interested into that. But I feel that what I am offering here to you on a regular basis has to do with my musical background, but has also a lot to do with my spiritual search and how I came to this particular spiritual path that I'm following. And since some people have asked questions about it, I would like to talk a little bit about it. I also want to emphasize that you probably have had the experience that there's a moment in our lives where we feel a little bit of an inner urge to look for something else. And this is where our spiritual search starts, and we start to feel like the things of everyday life that don't really fulfill us anymore, and so we're looking for something more and something else. We're looking for answers to some questions. So I think you'll probably relate to what I'm about to tell you. So I don't remember this, but my mom told me that as a little child, I was very much aware of God's presence, or at least I don't know how aware I was, but she said that when I was little, sometimes I would just go into my room and kneel in a corner and just talk to God. I would just talk to Him about all kinds of things. And I don't remember this, but she says I used to do this. And so then I started to be interested in yoga when I was 7. And this is because my mom suffered from depression and she wanted to take yoga classes. But she had anxiety attacks when she was driving alone anywhere. And so she asked me to go along, and I didn't know what yoga was, but I decided to go. And turns out that I really liked it. And we became good friends with the teacher. And over the years, our friendship deepened. She was a family friend. She would come over often. And I remember that at some point, I must have been probably 11 or so, I started to really feel that I had to learn meditation. I had no idea what meditation was, but I kept hearing the yoga teacher talk about it. And so I felt like there was something I had to learn. So finally, she taught me a meditation technique, and I followed it for a while. But then one day, I was studying violin at that time, and I went to my violin lesson, and the violin teacher was coming out of his bedroom in that moment when I got in the house, and I saw in his bedroom a photo of this, I didn't know who that was, but it was a face that I was very, very drawn to, and I asked him who that was, and he was very secretive about it. But he told me that that was an Indian guru named Paramhansa Yogananda, and I didn't know who that was. And he didn't want to say more. And later on, I was at my yoga teacher's house, and I saw she had a book with that same photo on the cover. And so I started reading that book, and that book was Autobiography of a Yogi, which is a spiritual classic. It's the life of Yogananda. And I remember reading that book. I was 13 at the time, and I was so thrilled. I just could not stop reading it. And I remember I was up until 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was so sleepy, but I just wanted to continue reading it because it was so exciting. I really loved it. And then later on, I discovered that I could enroll and take Yogananda's meditation lessons by mail. They would mail those lessons out, and so I decided to enroll in that and take those lessons, and gradually that's what I did for a number of years. And then at some point, fast forward, I was in my mid-20s at that time, I read a book by a direct disciple of Yogananda, Swami Kriyananda. And that book was so beautiful because he was telling stories of Yogananda, about his life with Yogananda. It was so inspiring, and I just wanted to know more about it. And then I learned that this man, Swami Kriyananda, had founded several centers and communities, and one of them was not too far from me. I mean, it was 8 hours, an 8-hour drive to get there, but still, it was not too far. And that community was called Ananda Assisi in Italy. And so I decided to go, and I immediately felt like I was home. There was this beautiful community of amazing people, very nice, very sweet, and very welcoming, and very dedicated to the path. And I was just so happy. I felt like I was home.